Good morning, everyone. I'm Noel McCluney, and I will be presenting service today along with Sandra Faulkner. Robin Perry and Kevin McCluney are providing technical assistance. Thank you all so much for tuning in today. We are glad that we can be together to support our community, even if we can't be together in person. Please be aware that we are recording this service and it will be posted on our Facebook and YouTube pages. We seek inspiration and meaning from many sources, faith traditions, and philosophies. We support each other's lifelong spiritual journey, and we encourage work for justice and peace. We value open minds and loving hearts. Here may our minds stretch, our hearts open, and our spirits deepen. Please take a moment to think of all your friends at MVUC. Greet them with a comment in the chat box, and remember that you can still reach out to them via email, phone, social media, video chat. Physical distancing does not need to mean emotional distancing. Let us support one another. We are a diverse group with varying interests and beliefs. Our services are varied in format, tone, and topic. We encourage you to view several services to gain a good understanding of our congregation. If you'd like to receive our weekly email newsletter, please email us at news@mvuc.org. MVUC remains committed to supporting our members and friends during this difficult time. For that reason, we are coordinating assistance with groceries, phone calls, and other needs. If this sounds like something that would be helpful to you, please send an email to sac@mvuc.org with your name and what kind of assistance you would like to request. Now is the time for announcements. Announcements can be sent ahead of time to services@mvuc.org to be read. If you have an important announcement now, you can raise your hand by clicking the raise hand button at the bottom of the participant box in Zoom, or I think it may have moved into reactions. Then we will announce your name and turn on your mic and camera so you can make your announcement yourself, or you can also just post it in the chat. Are there any announcements today? Robin.
There are currently no email announcements, but we can wait to see if anything comes in to the chat.
Let's say I have an announcement. Any committee leads, please make sure you submit any budget requests to the finance committee. They're kind of working on getting our budget, our proposed budget for the next year put together. So they need to know kind of what monies each committee needs. So please make sure you do that.
Oh yeah, and also I have a little bit of an announcement. So it was in the newsletter and also on the slideshow this morning, but for some weird reason, since we updated the website and it's like a new hosting or whatever, you actually need to create a new member account in order to get into the members portion of the website. So how you do that is once you're on the website, if you look at the top right-hand corner, there's kind of like a little kind of like back in the olden days when Facebook had like the little like grayed out profile picture heads. So you click on that and then it'll take you to like a login page, and then you need to click sign up. And then, you just put in whatever email address, preferably the one you use to get the newsletter, but whatever one you want to use. And then you create a password. And then I have to, or one of us who has access to the other side of the website has to approve you, which will happen within a few days. And then you can log in to the member side. And if you're willing, look at the MVUC member directory and just make sure your contact information and your name and your phone number and email address and everything is what you want it to be. That would be awesome. And if you have any updates to your name or your contact information or address, if you could send that to me at news@mvuuc.org. So that's NEWS@mvuuc.org. That would be awesome. And I'm going to keep that announcement in the newsletter for a while. So hopefully people see that. And Lynn, I believe there should be directions in the newsletter. So thanks, everyone.
Yeah, make sure you're reading that newsletter. I say this, I've said this many times, but a lot of work goes into that newsletter. Robin's been awesome being our main person right now. And there's a lot of information in there. The Social Action Committee is doing the Humane Society as our social action for this month. So make sure you're checking that out so that you know how you can participate in that and donate to that very worthy cause. And a lot of other information as well. So make sure you're reading.
Also, Noel in the chat, Matthew Stinson has a question, which I think is a good one for everyone to hear. So the question is about membership. If we never became an official member because we made the mistake of moving to New York, can we still apply?
Yeah, of course. We love to have more members. So
like how should what would be the first step in terms of like becoming virtual member?
Yeah, so I can send you our membership packet so you can kind of see, what perks you get for being a member and what you need to become a member. It's pretty simple. You just have to contribute to the organization somehow, either that monetarily or through participation, volunteer hours, and then sign our book. So we can do a virtual signing so you can make that official. So yeah, that would be awesome. I'd love to hear that.
Yeah,
So
so
I can
if
send
Matthew,
you.
you want to put your, you can either put your email address in the full chat or just private message it to either me or Noel and we can get that to you. Right? Sounds good. And then Kevin says, we are hoping to continue broadcasting our services even when we can be back in person again.
Yeah, definitely. I think that'll be so great for people like you who are distant, but also for accessibility. We were talking about the other day when we had all that snow, we might have had to cancel service that day, but because we're virtual, we didn't need to. So there's a lot of benefits. If you're sick, you could still log in. So yeah, we definitely really want to keep broadcasting virtually as well, even when we're in person. So.
All right, and I think those are our announcements for today.
All right. Please join me in reading the words for the chalice lighting that appear as a comment in the chat box. We light this chalice in honor of that most mysterious and powerful of forces in our free search for truth and meaning.
We've got two opening poems today. First is by Frederica Garcia Lorca, To Find a Kiss of Yours. To find a kiss of yours, what would I give? A kiss that strayed from your lips, dead to love. My lips taste the dirt of shadows. To gaze at your dark eyes, what would I give? Dawns of rainbow garnet, fanning open before God. The stars blinded them one morning in May, and to kiss your pure thighs, what would I give? Raw rose crystal sediment of the sun. The next sonnet, I am sure that you all will recognize, but I thought it would be nice to recite it today on Valentine's Day. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's lease hath all too short a date. Sometime too hot the eye of heaven shines, and often is his gold complexion dimmed, and every fair from fair sometime declines, by chance or nature's changing course untrimmed. But thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou oughtst, nor shall death brag thou wanderest in his shade. When in internal lines to time thou growest, so long as men can breathe or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee.
Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Let a dancing song be heard. Play the music, say the words, and fill the sky with sailing birds. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Learn to follow, learn to lead. Feel the rhythm, feel the need. To reap the harvest, plant the seed. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Everybody turn and spin. Let your body learn to bend. And like a willow with the wind, let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. A child is born, the old must die. A time for joy, a time to cry. Take it as it passes by. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Morning star comes out at night. Without the dark there is no light. If nothing's wrong, then nothing's right. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let the sunshine, let it rain. Share the laughter, bear the pain. And round we go again. Let it be a dance.
I'm going to begin reflection today with a poem by Rita Dove. Heart to heart. It's neither red nor sweet. It doesn't melt or turn over, break or harden, so it can't feel pain, yearning, regret. It doesn't have a tip to spin on. It isn't even shapely, just a thick clutch of muscle, lopsided, mute, still. I feel it inside, its cage sounding a dull tattoo. I want, but I can't open it. There's no key. I can't wear it on my sleeve or tell you from the bottom of it how I feel. Here, it's all yours now, but you'll have to take me too. I want to begin by asking you all a question. How do you know if you love someone? Is it because of a feeling, a behavior, intuition? Because you're supposed to? Now, here's another question. How do you know if someone loves you? Is it because they bought you the biggest box of chocolates for Valentine's Day? Is it based on their actions, their words, because they're supposed to? Romantic love is an invention of the 19th century. Before this, love was considered something that occurred after marriage, and it was all about duty. Social scientists define the question of love by looking at love styles, clusters of behaviors, and cognitions. For instance, Michael Hecht, a communication scholar, focuses on behavior and communication in his definition, which is love is a set of interdependent thoughts, feeling, attitudes, and behaviors. And that subjective experience of love can change in importance throughout a relationship. So it follows from this definition that we can locate love in the relationship between people. And also, love is not a stable set of affairs. But I ask, does this truly explain the experience of love? Another communication scholar, Steve Duck, considers relating to be the fundamental unit in our lives. Everything comes down to our relationships and this process of relating. And, as a communication scholar, I kind of like this. So I'm always telling students that relational communication is the most important class they will ever take, right, in their whole career. And if everything comes down to relationships and then this process of relating, we then are constantly defining and redefining our relationships through communication. And so this means that love may best be considered an action, and one that is influenced by our broader culture. Another psychologist, Sternberg, advances a triangular model of love. And in one corner, Sternberg talks about intimacy as important to love. In another corner, we have passion. And then in the third corner, right, of our triangle, we have commitment, right? So attachment, right, refers to feelings of emotional connection. Caring means giving support, comfort, and affection. And then intimacy is that sense of interdependence. And so Sternberg says we need all of these three components to understand something about love. And taking these three concepts, then we can talk about different types of love. And so I want to give you some examples, right, using Sternberg's triangular model. So Sternberg talks about the idea of collaborative love as a partnership that involves mutual support and negotiation. It increases our energy and intensifies emotion. So maybe collaborative love explains something about how you would answer those questions of how you love somebody or how you know somebody loves you. Active love is based on doing things together, activity, feelings of increased strength, and self-confidence. Intuitive love is a feeling that is communicated through our nonverbal behavior. And it's experienced through physical reactions, such as feeling warm all over, right, when the beloved is near you, and losing one's appetite. So perhaps this, right, describes some of those initial feelings of falling in love, right? Can't sleep, can't eat, can't do anything, right? But think about the beloved. Then we have committed love, right, which is based on commitment and involves experiencing strong feelings of connection, spending time together, discussing the future. We can also talk about secure love based on intimacy, security, and this is experienced through feelings of safety and warmth, right? So you feel safe and warm right around the beloved. And you communicate through intimate self-disclosure. Expressive love is shown through overt behavior, such as doing things for the partner and saying, I love you frequently. And then finally, we can talk about traditional romantic love, which involves togetherness and commitment, as well as feeling beautiful and healthy. But I ask again, does this truly explain the experience of love? As a poet and a communication scholar who studies close relationships, I answer these questions of love from multiple directions, from the mind and the body, from statistics and stories, from relationship concepts and poetry. In 2015, the year I celebrated 10 years of marriage, I wrote a reflective, meditative essay in 10 parts on marriage and love. I wove my poetry and social science research together because I can't separate out parts of who I am: partner, social scientist, poet, lover. All of these identities and ways of being influence my experiences of love and marriage. And so I would like to offer you a few pieces of this essay that reflect, critique, and alter the meanings of marriage, love, weddings, and a career studying close relationships that shifted over times in ways that I couldn't predict. Part 4. My marriage, and I'm aware that I use the pronoun my and not our, and my experience of it is knotted with my career as a relationship researcher. Research on marriage, the kind I don't do, strung with structural equation models and correlation tables, shows that there are different versions of marriage: his, hers, yours, mine. As someone who was never going to get married and someone who was trained in traditional social science methods, this marriage and my research present a lumpy fabric woven with beads of tradition and loose threads fraying from the inside out. I'm 10 years into my marriage and 16 years out of graduate school, and I can't untangle my personal experience from the theoretical perspectives knit into my modus operandi, a job hazard of earning a salary for studying and teaching about close relationships. Marriage, like other relationships, is all change. But we perpetuate the dominant Hallmark Channel image of marriage as continuous romance. This rainbow romance can't exist. Like a rainbow's ephemeral existence, no relationship can bear that impossible weight. I wonder if my relationship can bear the weight of critical analysis and personal writing. I want to show what being in this relationship, my marriage, feels like. And the theories about personal relationships I fought in graduate school can't show my non-engagement, the reworking of the supremacy of marriage, a stifling institution to living body with bruises, stretch marks, and stitches. For fun, I ask students in my relational communication classes, where are your relationships? No, really, where are they? They laugh, shift in their desk chairs to break eye contact, and give me that look. That can't be a real question. I repeat, where are our relationships? Can you touch them? Are they there, over there, outside the door? Where do they exist? I toss some interpersonal communication scholar Steve Duck's notion that relationships are cognitive schemas. Relationships exist in our minds. My ideas of relationships are here. Right? I tap my forehead with my fingertips. My marriage then lives inside my body. And the embodiment of this relationship shows in my talk and actions. The influence of cultural ideas about what marriage is and should be interact with my contrary disposition and manifest in Josh's and my conversations and non-conversations. Part 6. This summer, the summer of my 10-year wedding anniversary, a colleague of mine, Laura Stafford, and I interrogate interview transcripts of new brides talking about planning their weddings. We burst out of the usual interpersonal theory suit and dress our analyses and relational dialectics. One of the few critical interpersonal theories, and unsnap the narrative that the wedding day is the most important day in a woman's life. Women are supposed to fall into a culturally approved narcissism and take the role of bridezilla. It's my day and I'll do what I want. The woman in expensive lace dances over the couple, the marriage escalates to the top of the stage. But before I get too smug about my cheap wedding, I scotch taped the receipts for the clothing into an album, and my embrace of the anti-wedding and focus on marriage, I consider that Josh and I had not one, but 3 celebrations. The legal marriage, the love marriage in Madrid, and a party for 50 at Sheldrake Vineyard off Cayuga Lake a year after the legal marriage. We had talked about not wanting to spend money on a wedding because we were in our 30s and self-sufficient. We owned a house, a car, and had real jobs. My parents had paid for my undergraduate degree, which is better than one day and one celebration. Part 7. My feminist Valentine. And when you have forgotten your birthday party, the cocktails that churned your stomach like a polluted lake, and most especially when you have forgotten our tired talk, how you blurted, "Let's get married," a curled question in bed. My queries about marriage always unfolded in bed. Notice gag straddles the middle of engagment. Can bisexual feminists be married and be feminist? Or the fun of not telling how we shacked up after the lure of my Moroccan food, couscous scented with the triumphant cilantro, turmeric, and cinnamon. Any food after hours of sex and philosophy in bed. For the love of my pet rat who lapped latte foam, mornings we snuck to work with different routes to confuse and keep love cool. And if we forget the question from the bored court clerk who missed our smirks, how we both held our names with strong hands, the legal wedding Monday at the criminal courthouse planned over a delicious weekend. The call to our friends, the cheap silver rings, grocery store bouquet tied with gold ribbon, new shirt, skirt, and pants, the receipts pinned into our album. Then recall the real wedding, the love we cemented in Madrid, where only voices were required to wed. Vows penciled on paper and read with squinted eyes on the edge of the park, too dark to wander in further. Part 10. I think about marriage as I run along the Paseo del Morro in Old San Juan, choking on the cat smells and the stinking hot sun, while Josh sleeps in our hotel room. This is our vacation sans child to celebrate 10 years of being married. But I do not need a vacation for my marriage. I do not need a vacation from my marriage. I self-medicate with marriage and all of the tasks it takes, accept my impatience and anxiety about impossible expectations as the only permanence. Marriage is not a solid state, despite the platitudes we circulate. You're the same person I married X years ago. She hasn't changed in X years. He hasn't changed in X years. X is not a constant state. Love is X. Thank you.
I'm so sorry, Noel. Are you next? That's what I have on my.
I guess so. Sandra, did you want to do that last poem, or did you want to do that after?
Yep, I didn't put it off on my
That was a
notes.
great ending. So.
You know what? I've got one more poem. Oh, actually, a slide, because I'll have one at the end. But yeah, let me end with a poem by Adrienne Rich, and this is entitled 21 Love Poems, and this is poem 2 from the series. I wake up in your bed. I know I have been dreaming. Much earlier, the alarm broke us from each other. You've been at your desk for hours. I know what I dreamed. Our friend, the poet, comes into my room where I've been writing for days. Drafts, carbons, poems are scattered everywhere. And I want to show her one poem, which is the poem of my life. But I hesitate and wake. You've kissed my hair to wake me. I dreamed you were a poem, I say, a poem I wanted to show someone. And I laugh and fall dreaming again of the desire to show you to everyone I love, to move openly together in the pull of gravity, which is not simple, which carries the feathered grass a long way down the up-breathing air.
As most of you know, we like to have a section in our services where we think about how the presenter's reflection connects to our UU principles. And I'm going to keep it pretty simple and say that love can be seen in every one of our principles, from the first principle of inherent dignity and worth of every person to the seventh principle of respect for the interdependent web of all existence. And in Sandra's particular reflection, I can see most especially the search for truth and meaning as we explore this most changeable, but at the same time, in some ways, changeless emotion or force. Now more than ever, we are counting on your pledge and payments and donations to help sustain and strengthen this congregation that is so important to all of us, supporting our efforts to be a community of love, truth, justice, and service. Please click on the link in the chat box or scan the QR code and make sure you select the correct designation on the drop-down menu. And during the offertory, we're going to play one of my favorite love songs.